Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday morning warm-up, number 102. And today we're looking at the Major Pentatonic scale, and which will be E major for the concert instruments, and dare I say, C sharp major for the E flat instruments, and F sharp major for the tenor saxophones, and so on. So let's get started, and as always we're going to start with a little clapping pattern. I heard on the Today programme on Radio 4 today, they were talking in one of the more casual little segments about the song Hot Hot Hot, which is about 40 years old now, and it's a song from, I've forgotten the name of the guy who played it. Anyway, the phrase hot 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 I realised was the ba 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 from a 3-2 clave, the first bar of a 3-2 clave, the rhythm of the singing of the words hot, hot, hot. So we're going to clap the 3-2 clave. We haven't done it for a while, and it's probably the most important clapping pattern that we do. So let's just get that metronome going, and just for a minute, if I find my little egg timer, there we go, let's set that going. And stamp your feet if you like in time, and then we'll clap the rhythm. If you're not sure of the 3-2 clave rhythm, just listen to me a couple of times and then join in. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one, here we go. Da, 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 da. Good, right, the 3-2 son clave, and it will keep cropping up. It's one of the most common rhythms in music, all sorts of music, and a basis of all sorts of styles of music as well. Okay, good. Let's move on now to the instruments themselves. So if you'd like to get your instrument ready, and we'll just play some long tones and twiddly notes and anything you like, just to get things, get a sound out of it, get it warmed up a little bit. So the key today is E major, so I'm just going to play the note E, and you can join in however you like. Here we go. One, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Good. Okay. Now, next, and you know what's coming next, it's the chromatic scale. So we're starting on concert E, so that will be F sharp for the tenor instruments and C sharp for the altos, and just going to play the chromatic scale from the tonic E, concert E, up the octave and down again. So no different to the previous few weeks. If you want to make it a little bit more difficult for yourself on the guitars and basses, particularly, start on the very low E, your lowest E, and play smoothly up to the octave. It's not quite so straightforward. Can get into an octave. The pattern's different to what we've been doing in the past, but I'll leave that with you. Okay, let's just get started then. So we're just going to do concert E to concert E, nice and steady to start with. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And down again. Good. So you're all aiming for nice consistent sound. If you want to give yourself a challenge like going dynamic, start on P and end on F at the top and then come back down to P again, pianissimo, then maybe use that as a way of practicing this scale. Here we go again, same speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit faster. Let's go up to 100. That was 80. Can you do it and walk at the same time? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was walking on the spot at the same time playing that and it seemed to work. You never know when you might join a marching band. Let's go up to 120 and do the same thing. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, couple more. Nice and quick this time, somewhat quicker. 160. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more. 200. We haven't done 200 for a while, so just throw yourself at it if it seems fast. 1, 2. Hang on, let's do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I'd stop walking on that one. So lovely. All right, that's the chromatic scale. Now let's move on to our scale of choice today. It is concert E major pentatonic, and I think you probably know that I've been doing a lot of different sessions over the last few weeks, but the intention is to start moving through the keys, going back to the first one, and then working our way gradually through the keys. So we might be doing E major pentatonic, C sharp for the altos today, but the keys get easier as you go, and they get harder for the guitars. So we're starting with a guitar-friendly key, one that's played quite a lot, especially by rock and blues guitarists, and it's E major. The major pentatonic scale then, or any major let's just talk about the pentatonic scale itself first of all. It's made up of only 5 notes, of course, penta, tonic, 5 notes, 5 tones, and it's if you want to compare it to the major scale itself, it doesn't have the 4th or the 7th. So the 4th and the 7th have both been dropped, and so it gives it a certain sound, a certain more open sound actually, because it doesn't have any adjacent semitones in it. All the jumps from one note to the next are either tones or minor thirds. And people have said that's one reason why it's easier to play if you're, say, improvising, for example, over a chord sequence, because you're less likely to hit a note which is a semitone away from in inverted commas, the right note. You're more likely to hit a tone away, and which won't sound quite so unpleasant. So that's one reason why it's sometimes used by improvisers as a bit of an easier scale to play. It's like I say, it hasn't got the fourth and seventh, so it is actually 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. If you think in those sort of terms, in terms of the intervals, which happens to also be, and this is another thing for guitarists, the same as the notes in a C6-9 chord. I know one or two of you play C6-9 occasionally as a chord. They are all the same notes as a major pentatonic scale. You've heard this song before probably, or this riff. My Girl by the Temptations, that is a major pentatonic scale. So when you hear that sound, you know you're listening to the major pentatonic scale. And one other little thing you can, if you want to try it on a piano, if you play all the black notes, starting on, hang on, let's have a look, F sharp. So you start on the F sharp black note and just play the black keys, no white notes, you'll be playing a major pentatonic scale. So crops up in all sorts of different places, but there's another little way of finding it and hearing it and getting the sound into your ears. Okay, let's play what's on the screen. I'm going to play it a little bit slower because it will be difficult for some instruments, especially if you're not familiar. It's more about being unfamiliar rather than hard. So if you've not played C sharp or F sharp major pentatonic very often, your fingers will be going, hey, what's going on here? I've not done this before. So, okay, let's start with that first 2 bars, the major pentatonic scale, going up and down. I've slowed down the metronome to that speed. These are quavers, so it's going to be 1 and 2 and so on, that sort of speed. Here we go. After 4. Missed the count there. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And again, if it is difficult, just play a little bit slower. No one's listening to you. And have a go. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's move on to the next pair of bars on the top line. So it's the major pentatonic scale. This time descending first, then ascending. If you're practicing these without this session, obviously you can go at much lower temperature. Slower tempo. And I'm thinking of the weather too much. Here we go. So we're doing the bars 3 and 4 on the top line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe just slow that down even more. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Okay, on to the second line. Now these are ways of practicing scales, and it is going to be a little bit difficult today, but you can use these methods for practicing any sorts of scale. You don't have to practice a scale in crotchets or quavers. You can give them an actual rhythm, maybe more in keeping with the style of music that you like playing, for example. So right, we're just going to play that first bar, just that first bar on its own. So this is this is a diddly rhythm. It's a so it's a triplet rhythm. So on each beat, you will hear a diddly or a triplet or a 1 2 3. It'd be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. Except the first pair are tied. So it'll be dun 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 dun. Let's just play that and just listen to me if you're not sure. After 4. 1 2 3 4. And again 1. Oops, no, here we go. 1 2 3 4. One, two, three, four. Da, 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 da. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Let's go on to the second bar of the second line, descending, same rhythmic pattern. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Okay, sticking with triplets. So 1 2 3 1 2 3. We've now got the scale just going straight up and straight down again, just in triplets this time. So we'll stick with this slow tempo. We're on 50 at the moment if you need to set your own metronomes afterwards to this. So on the third bar. So we are just going up and down that pentatonic scale, but in triplets. Here we go. 1 2 3 4. And again. 1 2 3 4. One more time. 1 2 3 4. Okay, good. Right, the last one of the hard stuff before it gets easier. Fourth bar then of this line, and it's the same rhythmically as the last one. It's just descending then ascending rather than going up and down. After 4, bar 4. 1 2 3 4. And again, and 1 2 3 4. Do that one more time. 1 2 3 4. Okay, there's a few examples of practicing a pentatonic scale using triplets as your rhythmic sort of basis. Now we're just going to go on to, and this will be a little bit more straightforward because it's all crotchets. We're just going to do a pentatonic scale exercise, working our way up the scale, up the pentatonic scale. It's going up, then back to the first note in the first bar, and then da, 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 in the second bar. So it's kind of working its way up in little 3-note phrases, in sort of Frere Jacques phrases. Okay, let's just play that line. So just playing the third, I think it's the third line. Yes. Right, we're just playing that third line. all 4 bars. I think I could speed it up a fraction. Now that we're on easier notes. 1, 2, hang on, it's gone a bit too fast. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time on this 3rd line. 2, 3, 4. With these sort of scale patterns where you're just playing a little phrase and gradually moving it up through the notes of the scale, you can carry on forever. I mean, it doesn't have to stop when you get to the octave. You can continue to the next octave if your instrument and your playing allows you to do that. Let's go on to the next line. So we're on the 4th line now, rhythmically very similar to the 3rd line. And it's the same idea, except this time it's coming down 3 notes through the scale and going back to the 1st note, and then on the 2nd bar you can hear that, and it's just playing this 3-note phrase and then gradually getting lower and lower. So we're on the 4th line after 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. Well, there's a few different exercises there which sort of explore, in a sense, the major pentatonic scale. As I said, it's made up of the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 5th, and the 6th of the scale. No 4th or 7th in there. And it did have quite an open sound, didn't it? There were no kind of little semitones creating tension, for example. It's used in an awful lot of folk music as well as the usual sort of pop stuff. And it's a traditional scale for a lot of different music from around the world as well. And also, so are 3 particular major chords in the key, the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th. And we have looked at these many times before. But as they go hand in hand with the major pentatonic scale in a lot of music, let's just play the arpeggios now for in this particular key, concert E, the dominant, the tonic, well, the 1 chord, then the 4 chord, the subdominant, and then the 5 chord, the dominant. So we'll start with so we're on the 2nd line from the bottom now. And we'll start with the arpeggio for the 1 chord in this key. Yeah, so let's just do that. There's 2 bars there, as you can see. Smidgen faster, because I know you've done this one a few times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've probably done it in your grade exercises as well if you do those things. Here we go, and again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in terms of the intervals of the chord, we're going root, third, fifth, octave, or root again. So they're just triads, they're not seventh chords, just root, third, fifth, and the octave. Okay, let's move on to the 4 chord now. So this is the same thing in a sense, but a fourth higher. And so for a guitarist, for example, it'll just be move up a string, because this part of the guitar is all tuned in fourths. So if you just go up a string, you're playing the 4 chord. So we're on the 3rd and 4th bars of the second line from the bottom, the 4 chord arpeggio. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 2, 3, 4. Dun, 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 dun. Sing if you can. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, good. That's the 4 chord, and you know what's coming next. It's the 5 chord. I haven't put a 7th in this. It's just the regular triad again. So, and this, the 5 chord is a tone higher than the 4 chord. A tone higher. 2 semitones. Here we go. So on the bottom line, first 2 bars, the dominant of the key. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, let's just play those 6 bars. Okay, so we're going to play through the 1 chord, and then the 4 chord, then the 5 chord, as we've just done. We'll string those 6 bars together, but then just put on the end of it, can you just go back to the 1 chord again? So it's almost like a chord, well, it is a chord progression. 1, 4, 5, 1. It's quite a common chord progression. So we're just going to play those 6 bars that we've just played, plus the first 2 again, at the same tempo. Just play it as written. Here we go. After 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 4 chord. Bottom line, the 6 chord, 5 chord. Sorry. And back to the 1 chord. Yes, I think you can hear that, a very natural progression there. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning 1. Last time, let's do exactly that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, wrong note there. Back to the beginning. And we're going to strum those chords when it comes to the final part of the session, so you might want to play those arpeggios over the chords I'm going to strum. What I've just put on the last two bars is something akin to what we've just done, a 1-4-5-1 progression, but I've just shown them as ascending arpeggios. Well, actually the 5's descending, as you can see. So it's just a little pattern that you can use for practicing through a chord progression. And I'm sure, as many of you do already, playing arpeggios through a song's chord progression is a very good way of getting to grips with the actual sound of that particular piece, and also getting your fingers round the chords and making you realize which ones you're not that familiar with, because it's all about familiarity. It's not, you know, some chords are harder than others. They're all basically the same thing. They're just notes, and all the notes are in front of you or in your instrument. But it's the familiarity. If you haven't played a certain chord before very often or at all, then of course it's going to feel harder, but it's just less familiar. Which is why some people say start by learning C sharp major. That's not why I've done this, by the way, but that is a possible way of learning an instrument. Start on the hard keys, what we call the hard keys, and then C major will seem really easy in a year's time. Okay, let's just play those last two bars. Then we'll get on to the final section of the morning, the strumming. So I'm just going to play the last two bars after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so that's the sort of sound you're after. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, then we'll just go to the strumming. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okie dokie. That's that. Yeah, some of that was tricky, I know, and it was hard for me as well, and some of that was more straightforward. So let's move on finally to the chord sequence. And it's just following those chords, actually, the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 1. Well, actually, the chord sequence, the two lines there, I think you can probably spot this, is 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay, so you've got a choice here. If you just want to practice those arpeggios, follow the chords. I'll do 2 bars on each chord. If you want to improvise, and you can use that Major Pentatonic scale that we were playing earlier, so you've got the choice of 2 different things there. Or you can just play the chords if you're a strumming or piano, a strumming instrument or a piano. Okay, here we go, just to finish off. 2 bars on each chord. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up to the 4 chord. Back to the 1 chord. Up to the 5 chord. Second line. Up to the 5 chord. Back to the 1. Let's repeat that. 3, 4. Back to the beginning, 3, 4. Back to the top for the last time. 2, 3, 4. Finish on the last chord. 2, 3, 4. And there we have it. And that's session number 102. And nice to see you all as usual. And do enjoy yourselves in or out of the warm weather today. If you'd like to unmute yourself and say goodbye, that'd be great.
Bye, everybody.
Didn't see you there.
Thank you very much. Thanks.